Okay, so not much to say today, but I want to keep doing a video day because it's the streak, right? So today, my wife played Words of Power seriously for the first time. We had done a tutorial combat previously where she created the character Horsewench Hawthorne. And today, we ran her through the very first dungeon. We just started in the dungeon because I thought that would be the quickest way to get her to the action of the game, and she tends to play like unhinged barbarians that like to smash things. But so we just started her in the dungeon. She did not bring any torches or anything, so she had to craft that up using her support words, and that was great. She made a torch that's going to last 1 hour. So she goes in and finds this stone tablet that has the face of a reptilian goddess. And in one hand is the sun, and on the other hand is a sword. So she's like, well, swords are spooky, so I'm going to go the sun path. So she goes the sun path, and it hooks, and then it's submerged underwater. Easily 40 feet of, like, here to there. We can see the path come out, stolen directly from all the Oblivion dungeons that I just walked out of. Before she ever played, I talked mad shit. I said she was going to see this water, she was going to walk away, there's no way she goes in the water, 0% chance. Inside the green murky water are these little glowing lights. And she is appropriately spooked by this because it could be anything, right? She's like, it's a monster, he's going to kill me. So eventually we settle on, she's going to whip the surface of the water and see if it rustles anything up. It makes a loud crack, it echoes through the chambers, and nothing seems to stir. So she ends up swimming through the water, and her torch makes it on the way there, which she had to pass a skill check for. So she's already collected 2 words, crafting an item, swimming through some water. On the other side are these caretakers of baby reptilians. They're these kind of older, faded scales, reptile guys with these man catcher staffs. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's just a staff which has like a U at the end, and you use it to pin guys down. So this combat was actually like not that spooky because they're going to try to catch you before they stab you. And so Horsewench Hawthorne has 2 little animal adventuring buddies because I don't want to just swarm my wife and have her die. So she's got a big chunky badger that's got 8 HP in all his hit zones and can bite like a 2-handed weapon. He can also do double claws like dual-wielded daggers. So also has a hawk that moves at 2 times speed, but only has 4 in all its hit zones and can only peck for 1d4. So they very quickly, very easily wipe out these elderly lizard people. And she hasn't played a ton of RPGs, so she doesn't know what to look for, how to game the system, how to ask for more information about things. And so we speed through some things because I don't want to play the game for her, right? I don't want to be like, hey, you should do that. But she doesn't really loot the room or look for information about anything, figure out what kind of temple this is or anything. She just kills these 2 old folks and is like, oh, dead end, time to go. And so she doesn't check on the lights in the water. She just swims back across. And I believe her torch goes out at some point. I don't remember when it went out. Maybe it was during that fight. But anyway, she ends up leaving the dungeon. She's like, dungeons are scary, spooky. I don't want to be an adventurer. I'm going back to town. And I got a little upset. I've been asking her every day for a week if she's sure she wants to do a dungeon and if she's sure she wants to play the game. And I told her, I said, hey, you have to be an adventurer. You have to face scary things. And you can't just go retire at home because it's not a story, it's not a game. And she assured me all week, absolutely, we're going to do it. So she leaves and returns to town. She's like, adventuring is scary. So we stopped playing for a bit. And she comes back and she's like, I'm going to finish the dungeon. And so after some debate, we decided that she did go back to town. She did get some information about her backstory. And she returned to this temple to clear it out. So she's got more torches now. And her little animal buddies are healed up. Her armor's repaired. She's ready to tackle this. So she goes back in, torch in one hand, whip in the other, I believe, makes it down to the stone tablet, takes the sword path. Now in this hallway there is a simple wooden door on the right wall and a large stone reptilian face carved into this fancy door at the end. She decides to start with the simple wooden. She goes in there and she finds a reptilian priest that does not speak her language but curses at her in their language. So this is going to be her first encounter with an enemy spell caster. Like, she has not encountered any magic so far. She hasn't really cast any of her own. So this guy starts off with this little stone and bone scepter, and he's going to shoot icicles at the badger. Now, if she had read the rulebook I gave her, she would know. She could have more easily concluded that this is a magic item that is allowing this guy to cast a spell in this way, but she didn't, so she didn't know. And she also hasn't played a ton of RPGs, so like she doesn't get when items are specifically mentioned that they're important and relevant. So anyway, she kills this guy pretty easily. Badger is like double clawing people, biting heads off. The hawk is just pecking away at folks, and she's whipping things, staying at a safe, comfortable range. So we get through this room pretty quickly. Again, no searching, no looting, no information gathering. Just bounce back out, go to the big stone door. So in the big stone door is one of my favorite puzzles that I have not had a player enjoy yet. Everyone hates it, but it's a good introductory puzzle for somebody that does not really get the clues that you can find in an RPG and how they might correlate mechanically to like solving stuff. So it's 5 paintings, 5 stone altars, and a bag of 5 glass orbs that are colored. It's just the game Mastermind. The goal is to get the right colors in the right order in the 5 slots. So every time that you submit a guess, for every orb that is in the wrong spot, an enemy spawn. Previously, I've done this with gargoyles that like come out of the walls and fly down. But for a single player that is not that experienced, I decided to go with undead that only get 1 action per turn and will not really swarm that hard, because I anticipated there might be multiple failures before we get to really understanding the puzzle. This puzzle was awful. It took, I want to say, multiple hours for her to get where we were going, but it gave us the opportunity to talk about a lot of RPG things, and like, how would you solve a puzzle that you don't get, and are there clues in the description? So we got really meta for this one. She also got a lot of combat experience, learned to ready attacks, learned a little bit about positioning. Unfortunately, eventually some skeletons got some swings in on the hawk and ended up maiming the hawk. So the hawk has 2 broken up wings, and she's pretty upset about it. She actually ended up taking the hawk out of combat because she just felt bad. Badger did fine. Badger did work on these skeletons. So eventually she figures out that the plaques on the paintings correspond to the colors, and we get them in the right place, and we test a couple of things, and it's like several rounds of skeletons spawning, which she didn't do it on purpose, so I'm not mad about it, but she farmed a ton of words. Okay, she ended up with 9 words going into the boss fight. And this is where we enter the sarcophagi, as she called him. So she knows that in this stone sarcophagus, something is going to come out and something is going to try to kill her. And the whole time she's like, I know there's something in there. I know it's going to try to kill me. I'm like, not necessarily, right? So there's a sarcophagi in there, and he's going to try to kill her. So he pops up. And this is where we really test if she has been paying any attention, if she has learned anything at all from anything in this dungeon or any of the tutorial. And she absolutely fucking did. So she ends up, so he pops up, he wins initiative. He rolls a 6, she rolls a 2. And he casts, the first spell he casts is Raise Bone. He's going to raise those skeleton guys and like just try to fuck her up, right? Swarm her down with little ads, and it's going to be a proper boss fight. Just her and Badger. Hawk is out of commission. But she counterspells. She counterspells with Clumsy. So he staggers himself and loses his second action. Her turn comes up. She starts whipping him. He's got armor. This is the first armored enemy she's fighting. She seems mildly annoyed by that. The Badger slowly moves in because this guy's in A1, and it's going to take a minute to get in there. She didn't prepare attacks for whatever was in the sarcophagus, but, you know, hindsight. So, really, the Badger and the boss are going at it, and she's just, like, whipping from a safe distance. But on his next turn, the boss tries to cast Bone Armor, and she counterspells that with Rust. So Bone Rust. He loses another action. So I think the Badger got two very lucky crits, like back to back, tore off this guy's leg armor, and then just chomped his entire like pelvis down, just all of it gone. Chewed this guy up. So kind of anticlimactic, but also kind of climactic. Badger lost an arm doing it. Hawk is out of commission. Lady Crab is like stressing about what she's gonna do because this is getting pretty serious for the first time, and she's feeling like pretty bad about putting these random animals in harm's way. So I think we're gonna have to swap them out for something less cute and cuddly. But the point is, she fucking won. She fucking cleared the dungeon, start to finish. She solved the puzzle. She beat the boss, and just she had a good attitude the whole time. She had a good time playing the game. I raged out a little bit when she left the dungeon, and that was my bad. But yeah, she said she enjoyed the game. She said it was easier than D&D because there's less math. She said she likes the words. She likes counterspelling. She likes combat, which surprised me because every single combat, if she missed, she got mad. If the enemy hit, she got mad. She said that armor made her feel cocky and that not having armor made her feel vulnerable, which is the goal of that system. So that's very exciting. She said she would play again. She would like to play again next week. So I think next week we're going to go on an adventure to heal up these animals who are permanently maimed. Badger's missing one arm. Hawk, both of his wings are fucked up. So I got to figure out what unmaims animals in this world. But yeah, that's Lady Crab's first dungeon in a tabletop role-playing game, and she finally had a good time. She did not have a good time with Dungeons & Dragons, and so that is significant for me personally. I thought that she just hated RPGs, but it turns out maybe she just hates the fucking garbage ones.